Joe Biden's story is one shaped by love, loss, and the strength to keep going even when life seems impossible. Born in Scranton, Pennsylvania in 1942, he grew up in a working-class family that valued hard work, honesty, and compassion. From a young age, Joe faced challenges, including a stutter that made him feel different from other kids. He practiced speaking in front of a mirror, reciting poems and speeches until he found his voice. That struggle taught him empathy and patience, two qualities that would define his entire life and career. After studying law and entering politics, Joe Biden's life began to rise. At just 29, he was elected as one of the youngest senators in American history. His future seemed bright. He had a loving wife, Neilia, and three young children, Naomi, Beau, and Hunter. But only weeks after his election, tragedy struck. Just before Christmas in 1972, Neilia and their baby daughter, Naomi, were killed in a car accident while shopping for a tree. Beau and Hunter were badly injured but survived. The loss shattered Joe's world. He thought of giving up politics completely, but his family and colleagues encouraged him to continue for the sake of his sons. Joe took the oath of office for the Senate from the hospital where his sons were recovering. Every day, he took the train from Delaware to Washington, D.C. and back so he could tuck them into bed each night. Those train rides became a symbol of his devotion to family and duty. Through grief and exhaustion, he found strength in love and in serving others. Years passed, and Joe rebuilt his life. In 1977, he married Jill Jacobs, a teacher who brought warmth and stability to the family. Together, they raised Beau and Hunter and later had a daughter named Ashley. Jill's support helped Joe heal, though the pain of losing Neilia and Naomi never fully disappeared. He continued his work in the Senate, known for his compassion and his ability to connect with people from all walks of life. He fought for working families, healthcare, and education, always guided by the lessons of loss and resilience. But heartbreak found him again decades later. In 2015, his oldest son, Beau Biden, a promising public servant and Iraq War veteran, was diagnosed with brain cancer. Beau was the pride of Joe's life, a man of integrity and kindness. Joe watched helplessly as his son fought bravely, but the disease eventually took him at just 46 years old. The grief reopened old wounds, and once again Joe was left questioning faith and purpose. That year, Joe wrote a book called Promise Me, Dad, where he poured out his pain and reflected on what Beau had told him before dying. Beau had said, "Dad, promise me you'll be okay," and that simple request became Joe's guiding light. Instead of breaking, Joe used his grief to deepen his empathy for others. He began to speak more openly about loss, about how grief never truly leaves, but becomes part of who you are. When Joe Biden ran for president, he didn't hide his pain, he embraced it as part of his story. He spoke about the families who had lost loved ones to war, to illness, or to tragedy. He listened with a heart that truly understood. His empathy became his greatest strength, allowing people to see not just a politician, but a father and a man who had suffered, yet still believed in hope. As President, Joe carried those lessons into his leadership. He emphasized unity, compassion, and dignity, reminding the nation that politics should serve humanity, not divide it. Every time he comforts a grieving family or visits a community struck by disaster, people can feel that he knows what loss feels like. His words are not rehearsed, they are lived. Behind his calm smile, there remains a deep well of sorrow, but also gratitude. Joe often says the way to deal with pain is to find purpose, and that faith can carry you even when the world feels empty. His life proves that grief does not destroy love, it transforms it into empathy. From a boy who stuttered to a man who lost so much and still stood tall, Joe Biden's story is not about power, it is about endurance. It is about choosing kindness over bitterness and hope over despair. His journey shows that pain can become strength, and that the hardest trials can teach the deepest compassion. Joe Biden's grief shaped his empathy, and his empathy shaped his legacy. Through decades of personal and public struggle, he became a reminder that leadership is not measured by perfection, but by humanity. His life teaches that even in the face of unbearable loss, one can still rise, serve, and love again.